Ryan Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 6:30.
It's 8:07 in the morning, and Tucker Carlson is out of bed because he's always out of bed really early. He has a lot of energy, don't you, Tucker?
Hey, Tucker.
Good morning. But I didn't wake up and write a light bulb song.
Hey, did you like that?
I love it.
Well, then you need to put it on the Daily Caller and help it go viral so we can spread the message.
Done. I mean, it does raise the obvious question. If we can't even pick what light bulbs we use, what is the point of voting Republican? I'm curious. Like, if they can't even do that, I don't know. That's a major failure, I think.
Yeah.
Well, no drama Obama became drama Obama yesterday.
Yeah.
Who's to blame? What's to happen, Tucker?
Well, anybody who walks out of a negotiation at this point is to blame. I mean, who thought that was a good idea? I very much doubt that Obama's advisor said to him, look, in a fit of pique, walk out. I think this was completely organic and natural. I think he's a very temperamental guy. I think he's really arrogant and hates being disagreed with, and I think he lost control of himself in the negotiation. You never look good walking out.
All right, so do you think that helps the Republicans, or are we still at the same place?
If they were able to come up with a consistent message and press it in the media, yeah, it would help, but they're totally incapable of
That's
that.
a good point. They're all over the place on this. I'm not sure where that. It's either the McConnell plan, then there's Boehner, then there's Cantor, and then there are some Republicans who won't raise the debt ceiling no matter what. So where are they?
Well, I mean, there's all this drama in there too. I mean, the Cantor Boehner saga, I think, is taking up a lot of energy within the Republican caucus. I mean, the perception is, and I think there's evidence that it's true, that Boehner thinks that Cantor's gunning for him, and he's constantly looking back over his shoulder to see what Cantor's doing. And, that's fine and normal and all that, but at a moment like this where, it's all hands on deck, that's not helpful at all. So this is a very disorganized, dispirited party that does not have a consistent message, and that's a shame. And by the way, they already they ended the negotiation at the beginning by saying they didn't want to raise the debt ceiling. I mean, that's like, you can't win a negotiation if you tell the person you're negotiating with what your breaking point would be, right? I mean, they've already admitted that they're not going to allow the government to default. So at that point, it's just a matter of how big is Obama's win.
Tucker, after the president, just before he marched out of the room, apparently, and by all accounts, not happy, he apparently said the following things. This is widely reported, and there aren't many people who are challenging what he said. He apparently said, "Don't call my bluff, Eric. I'm going to go to the American people." And I think the unasked question is, how is the president bluffing? What is his bluff?
Well, that's right. I mean, I think what it really means is, how dare you talk back to me? How dare you disagree with me? Aren't you aware that I'm Jesus? I mean, I think this really is the way he is. I mean, if you watched the interview, and I know you did, between the president and that local news reporter in Texas who asked him an impertinent question, and you saw this flash of rage across Obama's face. Like, how dare you speak to me that way? I think you got insight into the real Barack Obama.
But at the end of the day, it sounds like to me you think that the president's going to win on this.
Of course he's going to win. Of course he's going to win, because Republicans have already conceded the bottom line. Look, if you walk into a souk in Beirut and say, I have $45 in my pocket, that's the most I can pay for this rug, what do you think you're going to end up paying for that rug?
Yeah.
$45. Because you've already told the person you're negotiating with how far you'll go. And that's exactly what the Republicans did. The only way you ever win a negotiation is by convincing the person you're negotiating with that you're a stone-cold psycho. There's no telling what I'll do. I'm going to put this country into default. Don't fool with me. I will do that. That's when you win. That's how Reagan beat the Soviets.
Well, and the media says every single Republican's a psycho no matter what they negotiate, so we might as well act like them in the future.
Exactly. If you're going to get called the Taliban, you might as well behave.
If you're going to be called a psycho, be a psycho.
Amen.
Well, the leadership says that, though. There are those in the rank and file of the Republican Party who seem like they want to get what they want in order to raise the debt ceiling. That's why I think that it's possible that McConnell and Boehner may want to do that, but is there enough support from other Republicans to go along with whatever plan that they cave in on?
And, well, by the way, where are the presidential candidates? I mean, in a normal, where's Paul Ryan? In a normal election year, we'd be listening very carefully to what the top 2 or 3 candidates had to say about all this, because one of them is going to be leading the Republican Party fairly soon. But notice that, nobody cares what Michelle Bachmann thinks, or nobody cares what Mitt Romney thinks. Their voices are not heard on this question.
Well, Michelle Bachmann was questioned by O'Reilly the other night. And
she's the most heard person.
She's the most heard person on that.
Of the candidates.
And she did essentially say, hey, I don't believe Tim Geithner or the president when they say, hey, we're going to default if we don't raise the debt ceiling by August 2nd.
Right.
She also said she'd be willing.
That's a fair point. And by the way, that is not, it's not a given that August 2nd is the drop dead date.
Sure.
And I think August recess has a lot to do with this, but there are apparently a number of ways this could drag on beyond August 2nd. That's a sort of artificial date.
But the truth of the matter is the Paul Ryan plan, we just talked about this with Scott Ridgell, the Republican from Virginia. He said, the Paul Ryan plan doesn't balance the budget for 20 or 30 years, maybe even longer than that.
A little longer.
So if you voted for the Paul Ryan plan, you essentially have to vote to raise the debt ceiling.
Well, what you're doing is using logic and consistency.
Quit making sense over there, Neiman.
That's completely out of fashion. No, I mean, look, in the end, the Senate Minority Leader set the baseline here, which is you get to do what you want. We don't get to force you to do anything, and that's how we're going to wind up.
What do you think of this Daily Caller poll showing Bachmann and Perry sort of taking the lead? Will Perry jump in? Is there any hope for this lot?
I don't know that Perry's going to jump in. Actually, I think that I was talking to someone yesterday who's very involved in Perry's fundraising,
right,
who said that it's only a 50%.
Really?
At this point, yeah. Look, I mean, it's very hard to raise the money, and Perry has a base in Texas. He's the longest-serving governor in Texas, but it's not clear that his appeal among the GOP donor base extends much beyond Texas, and they're trying to figure that out right now.
And Tucker, on Perry, something that sort of gets missed, and I've raised this before on the air, is although people say, well, he's the darling of the Tea Party, quite frankly, he's got a problem with the Tea Party in the state of Texas, and many people don't focus on that. He's got a serious problem there, and if he gets in the race, that word will spread beyond Texas among the Tea Party members.
Well, I think that's a really smart point, and not only with the Tea Party, but he also has a problem with donors in Texas, with the business class in Texas. Maybe he's been there too long. He's the longest-serving governor in the state's history. Maybe there are other reasons, but I've talked to a lot of donors in Texas in the last month, and I haven't met any who are unequivocally enthusiastic about Perry. Right. I like Perry. I'm not attacking the guy, but it's notable. What's really striking is the two front runners in our poll, and I think this is reflected in other polls, are not. One's not actually in the race yet, and the other is widely regarded as not really a likely candidate. I mean, a likely nominee in the end. I mean, I don't think many people think Michelle Bachmann's really going to be the Republican nominee.
All right.
And
Tucker, I'm sorry. We got to run, but thank you so much. Always good to have you.
I appreciate it.